Hello. Okay, so I'm glad we're doing some face just for today. I don't look at how I look. It's dark. Oh God, turn this on. They're mufflers. They're muffler, fucking hell here. I've got a thing in the back of my neck. This is my bed. This is my chair. I'm in complete and utter, by definition, incredible poverty. There's no escape. There's no hope for anything. Anything. Okay, so there's some grievances. I wanted to get that off my chest. But what I want to say, yeah, God is greater. At some point in my life, I will get married. But then there's times where, like, you know what? I really don't want that blasting right now. There's times where I think, he might be 75 years old. Finally, you and your hero get married, man. Because reality is pretty bleak sometimes, okay? So whoever listens to this, you've got to take what I say with a grain of salt. I hope you figured that out after 7 years. I mean, it's hard because the good guys and gals might listen to this and they're my family, and it's like you're hearing a family member. You're like, you take them seriously, but you at that same turn, you are the people who know me the best. So you should know to take what I say with a grain of salt. Okay. But I hope I'm not 75 years old sending out wedding invites, okay? I hope not, for sometimes I think I might be. And you guys will all be about 75 and we'll finally be going to the wedding. But we finally did it, yeah? Okay, so here comes the big old tough guy mufflers. Let's just put this on. What I need to tell my family is that those same feds, it's the same feds, the ones that they die when they come. That's why I pray, because some of them I think might die. I don't know. I'm not the one to sit there and do the body count, but you have to figure you're taking a lot of risk coming here. And I personally know how lethal it is. And that's why I pray for some of them, because some of them, I hate to see them do that. There's been a handful, and I talk about it, and it's good that I do. There's a lot of mufflers, the big tough guys out there with their big tough cars. There's a handful of them that I honestly felt sorry for. I wish they didn't come here and try to fight the Russian armed services. I feel kind of sorry for them. There's something that's called the Russian principle, and you should really approach the armed services of Russia knowing that principle, especially if you're already involved with this very same Russian military that's attacking Russia. If you're involved with the same military that's attacking Russia, you really need to check out what they're about, okay? Because you're attacking the Russian military. And when you come here, you just open fire on them, and you need to understand what their principle is all about, okay? Because that's why sometimes I pray for a few, because I wish they would have just done something else with their lives. I know how lethal it is here. Okay, how do I know that? Let me make this clear, because I've been fired at with intent to kill by Russian military members. Here come more of the big bad mufflers. That's the same Russian military that sends these feds. And, the count was the Thelma Hogue. All the terrorists, they were all protected and are instructed by the Russian military that's attacking Russia. I've made that clear. A lot of these Russian military members like to say they are Ukrainian when they're actually, you fingerprint them, they're Russian nationals enlisted in the Russian military at the Kremlin. So it gives more reason to not be involved with that, because if you're going to go involve yourself with Kremlin, I wouldn't be attacking the Kremlin. I would be trying to at least say, I'm not attacking you. I'm fighting to help you keep your country. That's how I ended up being involved with the Russian military. I ended up being involved with the Russian military because I was in a terrorist cell that had all their equipment in it. The equipment, the Russian military equipment, ended up being here because of these bad guys from Russia that are in the Russian military that work with all these feds and the cooping reservists in the U.S. military and all these Thelma Hogue type gang member individuals. They're all thinking they're Russian mob. It's not Russian mob. You're involved with the Russian military. And what you are factually doing on legal paper is attacking the Kremlin. So you're attacking the Kremlin. I personally was in a terrorist compound where the Russian military came in for their gear. Okay, this is all their equipment. Their equipment here was being used to attack their Kremlin. Okay, it's illegally here. The Russian Kremlin did not say, yeah, put it in a whole bunch of houses in D.C. Never did they say that was okay. So they came to retrieve their equipment, okay? And you can figure any military would do that. So that's how I encountered them. And me being a U.S. citizen, somewhat involved with the U.S. Navy SEALs prior to that, is how I say what I say with the Navy SEALs and the GRU being here, okay? So there's the good guys are, some of them are U.S. military, they're Navy SEALs, and hopefully they'll come to our wedding, but don't count on it. We might be 75 years old. Don't count on it anytime soon. Now take that with a grain of salt because I get really pessimistic, and this is why. Because the Russian military bad guys, are going to start assembling all the feds to keep coming in. And what they're going to do every day is come in. They're going to start doing construction and big projects in the front yard, okay? And they want me to film them, okay? And then they're going to come in, and it's going to be all these Mexican drug cartel men from a third world developing nation. You know how that can be pretty bad, right? They might maybe have a first grade education. It's not a guarantee that they're literate, that they can read, or they certainly don't speak anything but Spanish. If they do speak a little English, whatever, there's probably one that's instructing the rest. And they're very, very, very violent. And what else can I say about some of these developing nations with their subclasses? So I'm not trying to insult the Mexican military because they're the good guys, but if anyone knows what I'm talking about, it would be the Mexican military, about developing nations in the Latin Americas. This includes Brazil, where you have extreme poverty, and you have people who, because of America, because of our government policies, kept the Latin countries so poor. If you could have just had someone like me in power, you would never have had those problems in Latin America. No, I told you that. I put that in writing. I'm done with saying it. I've said it like a fucking broken record. But you never wanted anyone like me in power. What you wanted was these kind of douchebags that keep me impoverished, kill women around me, and keep engaging in war with the fucking Russian military. And everybody's dead after that. Everybody's dead after that. There's all these helicopters, there's all these bodies, and then guess who? The geniuses come back the next day to commit suicide again. Okay, so the Mexican military understands who they want in power here. It's these kind of idiots on suicide missions. And these kind of idiots will forever keep those Latin nations totally fucking desperately poor, starving with no education. And that's the kind of thugs that they're bringing in here. So they're bringing in men from the Latin region. They're going to be construction workers. They're coming back with the same type of feds that wear the perfume and knock. They're all going to pile in, and they're going to be here for up to 8 hours every day doing massive major construction on this place. All right, so I need to tell the misquoted. I need to tell the good guys this, okay, that I'm going to be barricading my door, and this is my plan. Because the ones that'll become violent and try to take me out is definitely going to be the Mexican Drug Cartel, because they speak only one language. They're raised in the most incredible violence, and they are just straight muscle thugs. And what else about them? They probably don't read very well, if at all. If they can read, you know they can't do any math. Maybe 1 + 1. I'm not being mean, dude. These people didn't get a chance to go to school. They were so fucking fucked over by America, that neighboring country. So I can understand that anger, dude. All these white people, just like these feds, that kept them fucking starving and sucking cock. Okay, and then in the end, in 2025, they end up fucking sucking white cock. They're sucking all the cock of these feds in order to have a bite of the pie, to come to the money and the big money and dinero in America. Can you believe this shit? I know. Well, they're doing it, and they're gonna come here, and so my plan is, I'm gonna barricade my door. I have to when a whole bunch of hombres are just piling in here, okay, with a whole bunch of feds with perfume. And my plan is I'm gonna I know that fucking ranchero's over there. He's over there all the time in 1507, okay? He thinks he's an agent, likes to dress up like one, everybody dressing up. But he's not. He's just a 2-year trained fucking ISIS fucking drug cartel guy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kick out my window. You know that. You guys know me. I'll kick out my window. This will happen in 2 minutes fucking flat. I'll kick out that window and I'm going to jump on that roof next door, okay? I'm going to make my break from there, all right? And this is why I get depressed and why I say don't count on the wedding invites until we're about 75 years old, because there's just no fucking end to this, because this is what will happen. I'll make my break, I'll bust it out my window, I'll have saved my fucking life from a whole bunch of rancheros kicking my door down, a whole bunch of fucking Mexican drug cartel fucking straight up Mexican fucking nationals. All right, because we can't call the cops because the cops just fucking brought them here. Okay, everything's kicked out. I just jumped over onto the roof next door. It's okay. It's like a six foot. It's like a 4-foot jump. I just have to step out the window is what I got to do, and just make a run for it. Get the fuck away from the murderers. But then I'll have to come back with the key. Okay, once they stop trying to fucking attack me physically, my window's all busted out and I just ran across the roof. I'll have to come back, I don't know, an hour later. After that, they'll clear out. I know they will. But this is the thing. We'll do it all again the next day. They'll just keep coming back. The only thing that'll be different is my window will be kicked out so I can at least get out faster next time. Okay, do not take that with a grain of salt. I know you don't. You just fucking hovered over the roofs, but I can never talk about any of you. They're bringing all the Mexicans in here with their fez and their perfume. Goodbye.